Hello everyone and welcome to the stream, and Minecraft did the thing again, so I'll launch that real quick. But anyways, welcome to the stream and or VOD, depending when you're watching this. How's it going? How are you all doing this fine night? Almost said this fine evening, but I was like, it is just a little bit past the evening. But yeah, I was feeling rather tired today, so I wasn't going to play Omega Strikers, and I was like, what's a chill game that I can just kind of yap to? And was considering a couple other games. I was like, Monster Train is pretty fun. A lot of strategy in it though. Inkbound, Paladins even. I was like, but that's right out immediately. It's not even chill. It's just a game I haven't played in a while. Also Timberborn. I should get back to Timberborn at some point. But it's one of those things where it's like, because the major update has finished now, I'd have to start again. So yeah. But yeah, got the old hardcore world to get into. Oh, also, well, I'll wait till load in so I can actually hit escape. I'm pretty sure I just tab out, it automatically escapes, actually. But I completely forgot to ping the Discord. Yeah, and it does automatically escape. Nice. There we go. Now the Discord has been properly pinged. It'll be a bit before people enter, which is usually why I ping before I start the stream, but is what it is. But yeah, how's everyone doing? Actually, I just realized between the last Minecraft stream and this one, I have, like, changed the, Hey, Upsy, how's it going? At 7 a.m. Hopefully just waking up and not having more sleep problems. Yeah, how's it going? No beard, yep, indeed. So between the last Minecraft stream, I have moved the chair up and then also shaved, so whiplash, I guess, for anyone in the future watching the VODs, which I really need to move to YouTube, but there's so many ones that I have to stitch together, and it takes so long. I think what I'm gonna do, actually... Hey, Chelsea, how's it going? Welcome in. And actually a base tour. I can actually do that this time. Let's go. But yeah, I'm thinking maybe... Did I actually right-click something over here? Hold on. Anyways, but yeah, I'm thinking that hopefully, so again, hopefully I'm starting a new job soon, and then I will have enough money from that, and like the bonuses. And it's like, I don't really need like furniture and stuff, so I'll hopefully be able to get a nice gaming rig and then have enough power to be able to actually like do some like video stitching. Probably not full on editing, because I just don't have the sense for that built up. But anyways, so hopefully I'll be able to get those, and then because I really want to do want to put those VODs together so you don't have to click through like 5 of them, and then I can put them all on like YouTube or something. Yeah, haven't slept yet? You should probably get on that. Sleep is very important. If you have something major to work on and stuff, that's one thing, but even then, like, try to get some productivity, because try to get some sleep, because it will increase your productivity in the long run. I'm the one that needs sleep, apparently. But yeah. So I guess for chills here, the base tour though. So we are currently inside of the sun. As you can see, the sun is covered in snow. I'll fly outside because we did indeed complete it, I think, since the last time you were here. Go to school today in 1 hour? Huh. You think? Like... I mean, I guess in America it's Labor Day, so we wouldn't, but I don't know how that translates to other countries over there across the pond. Actually, I don't think you were in Europe, but... Or in England. I think you were somewhere else. But... being in the sun is a bit dangerous, I think. Yeah, I mean, it's perfectly fine. I'm inside the sun and I'm not dying. You see, the secret is I built it at night. So, you know, completely solved all the problems. But yeah. So this is the model of the sun, finally complete. 109 blocks in diameter. And inside, of course, we have the mob farm. That's been there for a while. But yeah, we also have the solar system with everything except for Mercury. There is no Mercury standing, so I want to use a conduit for it. But I don't have the spare Nautilus shells, and I don't want to rip out the others. So, we have the Earth here, basically. So at this is a 2-scale model of the solar system. Of course, distances aren't scaled of, like, the distance between things, of course, because, things are outside of the sun. But the sizes are actually roughly scaled. So at this scale, where the Earth is 1 block, that is indeed the size of the sun, fairly accurately. So yeah. But then you have Mars there. You have Venus, which is actually comparably sized to the Earth. Mars is fairly small. And then we have... I was trying to go in order, but I left out Mercury, which threw off the rhythm. So Mercury is going to go there eventually, but I have to get more, whatchamacallits? More, Nautilus shells in order to actually make the conduit itself, because I have like, so many hearts this season. I don't remember, right? I think it's like 10 or 13 or something. But yeah, so Mercury, Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, and then we have Uranus and Neptune. And I tried to vary the heights a little bit and the distances, roughly to, like, I tried to position them not exactly to scale, but like roughly where it's like the, Mercury is close. Now, technically the sun, the Earth is not the center, would be farther away, but, I tried to make, like, Uranus and Neptune a little farther out and Jupiter a little bit closer, same with Venus and Mars. But yeah. This part of the distances isn't scaled. I just wanted them nice and spread out, and that was a fair way of doing it, so. But I did want the Earth to be the center, because, of course, Jeez, I keep confusing THs and Ss a lot of the time. I really need to work on that, because it's, like, something that just slips in when I'm tired. Like, normally, I have absolutely no problem with THs and Ss, but then it will, just all of a sudden. And so I messed up once, and then it caused me to mess up again, because I was like, oh, don't mess it up, and I was so focused on not messing it up that I messed it up. But anyways. Where was I before that? This is why we go on tangents. But yeah, so the sizes are to scale, but the distances are not. So... long story short, that and the Earth is the center of everything. We are a it's not geocentric would be the Earth being the center. Yeah, because I said the Earth be the fenter because I was like flipped them. But yeah, so that is the way it be. I do need to, at some point, get some wax for the copper, but I'm low-key, like, terrified of bees in Minecraft, so that will be a while before we do that. Yeah. Should probably get some sleep in-game. I mean, in real life, too, but in-game, because last time Phantom spawned inside the sun, which was quite rude of them. But the sun is indeed big enough where that can actually happen, so... Only sleep in game. I have heard that there are actually like people who sleep in like VR chat and stuff, and that just helps them sleep. So technically, I guess some people do only sleep in game actually. But this is the daily PSA for sleep, that it is very important for so many different reasons. But shouldn't harp on it too much, but that is the way it be. One thing that we actually could do is farm a bunch of trees, because the next stage of this project is going to be the Yggdrasil, the world tree. And that will require a large amount of leaves and logs. So, yeah. Unfortunately, there's no... Oh, whoops. There's no 4x4 or 2x2 4-block tree for oak. You can only do... you can do, I think, pretty much every other game, or every other tree in the game. Jeez, I'm getting everything flipped around today. Actually, it's not over this way, it's over this way. But yeah, I should also, you know, for the rest of the base tour, pretty much nothing has changed in the rest of the base. Pretty much everything is basically just the way it was before I started on the project of building the sun. Is that a polar bear on like a single block of ice? No, he's just chilling in the water. It was just hovering in the air. Whew. Yeah, as you can tell, probably, I am fairly tired and not on top of my game, which is why I'm not playing Omega Strikers, because I don't know as much of LP. I'm fine in Minecraft, because I can always just, like, quit and then come back another day if I'm really in a dire situation. But for the most part, I should be pretty fine. So yeah, I need to collect a ton of leaves and also a ton of logs. I don't know if I actually will use oak leaves, or if I'll use any other kind of leaf, but at the very least, I'll start by collecting oak and then maybe decide later on something else. That will actually dip into my stores of various different things. Also, I have all of my things, yeah, all my shulker boxes still over there in the sun. Back we go. Ay, ay, ay. At least it's very easy to find the base now. If I somehow manage to miss the 100-block wide sphere, that's on me. I do really need to go through these at some point as well, but... and then, was this the one that had my spare saplings? No, that's my nether. Forget. Here's my spruce saplings. Some oak, but not much. I mean, I do have a bunch of azalea leaves at least. And I might farm up some flowering azalea leaves for the world tree, but I will not be farming up only azalea leaves. I don't think it's a fairly small tree and it's not very efficient to farm up leaves for it. So we just don't have those on hand. That's fine, we have a bunch more at the base, so we'll be fine. Now, can I coast all the way to the base without a rocket? No. Maybe if I took that first part better, but... I mean, I'm pretty sure if I can start at that exit, then I can just coast down pretty easily. Challenge is getting to the hole from the center platform. Yeah, so just through here. that actually is some flowering azalea leaves. And there we go. Oak sapling. You know, actually, I could also mix in some of the cherry tree leaves. I mean... So my initial idea for the world tree was to have an oak tree, because that's usually like the standard tree that's used to represent the world tree, because an oak tree is usually very spread out. It's not super tall. Like, they can be tall, but an oak tree is usually big, imposing, and broad, which sort of fits the whole, like, narrative of the world tree, bringing worlds together and having them, like, you know, connected to the world so they can be kept far apart, but they're still, you know, together. However, it might be cool to actually mix together the different trees. So let's actually mix some trees together. Maybe. We'll just leave this as a maybe, not a definite. But at the very least, it's a solid maybe. Spore blossoms actually would go pretty nicely with it, probably. Maybe even some azaleas, but... Actually, I guess, yeah, azaleas are a tree. I mean, they use oak wood, so it's kind of similar. But, yeah. And then, of course, get rid of this random garbage. Where would I even put Skulk? You know, I'll put it in the nether section. Diorite can go over in there. Dirt can go over in here. Sorry, azalea leaves, thank you very much. Moss as well. What lighting source should I use? Because I could keep on using sea lanterns, and I could, you know, put some, like... An interesting conundrum. Right, because the... Also, I think what I'll do is I'll chop down the first few trees, and then I'll use shears on some of the later ones, that way I have enough saplings to replant everything. But yeah. Lighting up the world tree is going to be difficult to find something thematic. I could turn the inside of the world tree into a honey farm, and then have, like, bits of that sticking through and having, like, glowing golden cones. Also, there's no particular reason to use this forest specifically for my forestry, but it's kind of just the one that I've always used, so... Actually, I suppose I can do it kind of a hybrid approach. And just break a tree and then go at it with the shears. Because I do already have plenty of saplings. So actually, you plant you. Hey, Zev, how's it going? The sun is setting and we are in a rather dangerous position. I'm actually going to put on my chest plate because I am a coward and I do not want to face mobs without it. Come on, it's basically nighttime already. I can see stars in the sky. There we go. Also, let me make sure that we are... Okay. I wanted to make sure that I wasn't doubled up or anything with the mic. I mean, they're usually pretty good about telling me, but every now and then I like to double check just to make sure. Because if there is ever anything that's weird or wrong, or if it like sounds robot-y or anything, that's usually not intentional. Like, you know, there hasn't been a moment where it's been intentional thus far, at least. Enchant these shears. I might actually need like multiple pairs of shears or something to get all the leaves I need. Because I'm probably going to need a lot of leaves. I mean, what I'm probably going to end up doing is basically like covering the top of the sun in leaves. Sorry. Ooh. Was that through your snake plant, I guess? With the thie? I'm just trying to parse it. Generally not good to throw things into the sink, so... Especially right after cleaning it, unfortunate. But it sounds like you got it sorted out in the end at least, so good to hear. I'm glad you're doing well. I am doing pretty well as well. Do have some... bit of a busy month coming up. That's the biggest thing. But once I am done with the next month, I will be... I mean... month in like a week. And then I start my new job, do a whole lot of things. I mean... it'll be exciting. And it kind of is exciting now. The things in between now and then are not, like, especially bad or anything. It's just because there's so many things that are just kind of all lined up that it's kind of stressful. Honestly, the biggest thing is just family, because, like, my family gets stressed super easily. So then I get stressed because they're stressed, and so on and so forth. So nice if you could, like, compress leaves. Yeah, sorry. Had to get... Fair. Yeah, especially when it's a plant that you've been nurturing for a while. It can be, rough when you're like, oh no, I just did something that might kill this plant. I remember I, tried to grow some ginger a while ago, and then, I put it in direct sun when it should have been indirect sun, and, you know, being in Texas in the middle of the summer, it did not. It did not. That is all. It just did not. I'll get some birch. Why not? Yeah. It's been for like 6 months in there. I keep playing alive. Huh. Wait, that's weird. It gave me a notification saying that I was getting close to my sub goal, which, by the way, I didn't set a sub goal. It just automatically set it, and I've never bothered on doing it. I just wanted to refresh to make sure there was no sub goal. Hey, there it is. I was like, it's so weird. It updated without anyone subbing. That's weird. Yeah, how's it going? Thank you for the Prime. Yeah. Plants are usually hardy enough if you're quick on things. You know, sometimes they'll wilt and go through some stress, but they usually pull through. I'll just cut the tree apart. W game indeed. I would have played some Omega Strikers, but I was like, I don't really feel like it today. I was actually playing it earlier today, and I was just bombing. I was not doing very well at all. So, hopefully this game does not go like that. Because that would be rather unfortunate. I don't need some gravel. Or an apple. Yep. But yeah. How are you doing? Because you were starting an internship. I mean, I wanna go too into detail if you don't want to, but if you want to chat, I'm like awful at like just conversation in general. Need to get better at it. Oh, so you don't have to move down there. Nice. So are you just gonna like? Are you gonna like stay near the college or like back home with family or what? That's a pretty W move right there. Chilling at home is nice to chill. Got some English ivy and everything. You said they'd be easy to take care of, but it died. Nice. I don't know much about English ivy. The one thing I know is that succulents are basically immortal. You basically have to try and kill them for them to die. But I've also known some friends that have just been so awful with plants that they did. Which is kind of magic in its own way. Like there's an aloe plant that it was like, oh yeah, I forgot. It's like we have it like sitting on a windowsill so it doesn't get super direct sun because it can wilt from that. I mean, it would probably be fine, but it's better without the direct sun. And I was like, oh yeah, I forgot to water this for like a month. Still going strong. I mean, it's established now. Like, it's in its pond. It's growing. It's actually growing too much, so I kind of don't want it to grow more. Because if it grows anymore, we'll have to, like, repot it. And it's also grown like a line, so it has a bunch of different fronds. Are they fronds on an aloe plant? It has a bunch of different things. But they didn't, like, fan out in a circle. They're just, like, in a line. Maybe that's because they're on a windowsill and it gets, like, one direction of sun, but one of them is also, like, super long. So. Maybe I shouldn't plant the forests so close together. Because then you don't get leaves that decay and then it kind of, like, clogs everything up. But I do kind of like the forest being more like that. You know? More natural Minecraft forest. Of course, the big trees. I don't like cutting down big oak trees. It's just so annoying because you have to build up to them. There's no way to, like... Because the other big trees, you can, like, fly to the top and spiral down. But those you have to, like, dig through the leaves to get the branches. And it is a nightmare sometimes. Chocolate Warrior. Haven't heard of that one. Sounds neat, though. I did get some... was it chocolate mint? It's a mint, right? But it's also has like notes of it's weird. I think it's like I think it's in a bed somewhere still because I like every time I like mow the lawn in that area I smell mint very strongly. I think it's still over there in the bed somehow. but haven't really kept track of it. Be a superior watering system. I just get the branches as I spiral down. Bottom watering? Like watering like the dish that keeps the water from spilling over, or chocolate soldier. So I'm just gonna throw the bed down underneath the trees. There we go. Let me get a look at this. No, don't hit that one. Chocolate soldier. Okay, so it looks like a succulent. It is a succulent, okay. Huh. Those are some wildly different common names. Like, usually common names will have, like, some sort of similar thing. But, just reading off, like, the Wikipedia page. Kalanchoe, or Kalanchoe tomentosa, also known as... I mean, it's probably a very, very innocent name, but also it's not. Panda plant, succulent plant in the genus Kalanchoe, a native of Madagascar. Kalanchoe tomentosa has many different cultivars, such as chocolate soldier, golden girl, black tie, and teddy bear. It has red-rimmed leaves. About 2 feet tall. Neat. Water the dish and then leave it for half an hour to let the plant to drink what it needs. Huh. Kind of makes sense, yeah. I guess you have to water a lot more frequently then. If it's, like, if you're pouring out the excess and it's not letting the water get into the soil. But yeah, that does seem like it'd be, you know, there's less erosion and stuff, so it has, you know, better opportunity to set up the roots. Needs to farm the channel points. Well, now that you're subbed, you get twice as many. Haha. Which, I really shouldn't be encouraged. I hate when people sub, so... I always feel bad, so I shouldn't even be encouraging it. It's like, I kind of wanted to encourage it because I like money. And then it's like, no, wait, that's someone giving me money. No, bad. I don't want to take other people's money. The duality of man. You're going to need a lot of wood for this. Like, we're probably going to need many shulker boxes of wood. Do I try to take out the beehive? I mean, I already have a couple of beehives. I just need to, like, set up a farm for them, really. Like, in one of my shulker boxes somewhere. Succulents, not really. If you don't want water chilling the soil, the succulents, they'll rot the roots. That's fair. Yeah. I've never really, like, thought about, like, succulent care, because, like, full disclosure, the plants that I care for are not my own plants. It's my mom, because she really likes collecting plants, and then I'm the one that's left to water them. Which, I mean, it's not the end of the world. So I don't, like, do in-depth research on, like, the most perfect way to care for the plants. It's like, they are alive, they are not wilting, they are not dying. That is enough. So I've not like thought like in depth about the care. I'm just like, ah, yes, this one is getting too much sun. It needs less sun, so I move it. But yeah, definitely does make sense that because yeah, especially with like succulents that like don't take that much water, rotting in the soil would probably be quite a big problem. Bezos money. Gee, like an Amazon internship? Oh wait, no, it's Prime, right. Duh. That makes sense. I feel less bad about Prime subs. Having given it, like, a tiny bit of thought. I've gotten, like, since streaming, I've gotten a lot worse at, like, thinking before speaking, because, like, a big part of it is just, like, feeling silence on stream. Which has its ups and downs. Like, when I go cast on other games, well, other game Omega Strikers, when I do, like, commentating for that, it's a lot easier to just yap. But it's also not the best, because then I like, it's like, I think I know what I'm talking about, and then I give it some more thought. It's like, actually, I don't know as much as I thought now that I started speaking, but now that I started speaking, it's a little too late. Which is already kind of a problem, but streaming has really, like, made it worse. That's more than, like, once a month-ish. Plants are kind of like people who just meet you. Fair. That is the one thing that I've been noticing, like, caring for the plants, is, like, there really are, like, different ways that the plants, like, speak to you. You can, like, you know, looking at the leaves and stuff, it's like, ah, yes, this is a leaf that is, like, brown from being in the sun too much, therefore it needs less sun, or, like, this one is brown from, like, decay and wilting, therefore it's, like, getting too much water, or this one is, like, dried out a little bit, so it's getting too little water. So, yeah. Just gonna throw out the stone. I wonder if one way to make the world tree would be to actually, like, plant a bunch of trees and then just, like, take out the dirt that I plant them on and then just do that. I'm gonna do this, but if you're keep it in isolation for keep it in isolation is like a did it do something? It needs to be put in solitary confinement, or like I mean, I assume there's a reason for it, but it does seem funny just without any context. Lock him up. He's too dangerous to be left alive, to be left out in society. Helps prevent pests. You kind of eyeball them and look at them, but most pests live a lifespan of 2 to 3 weeks if you leave them isolated down long. That makes sense. So it kind of is, but it's not their own fault. Yeah, that actually does make a lot of sense. Yeah, quarantining the plants. There's no pests that can migrate between them. That's one of the things where it's like, I'm not like I don't see myself doing gardening as a hobby long term. Like it's not something that interests me that much, and well, I mean it does, but I have so many other things that it's like I want to do these as hobbies, and I just physically will not have the 30 hours in a day for everything already. So if I add more, then I can't. So it's like I do find plants fascinating. It's always nice to hear like more about the things, but I've never like bothered to do the research myself because it's like this is not going to help me in any way. But I do love to hear more because I mean it's fascinating stuff. Thankfully, we've actually been pretty free of pests in the plants. We did have some mean ivy, which I've been kind of battling for a couple of weeks now. I mean, I could have like finished it in like... I mean, it kind of is already over because I cut the vines out from the root. So they've all been dying. Now, I personally liked the look of the vines. They were kind of growing everywhere, but it wasn't like the vines weren't choking anything out, and there was plenty of sunlight to go around. So they were like providing more shade and actually adding a lot of greenery to areas that would have just been like wooden trunks and such. So, but a vine that's been growing for like, I mean, over a decade now, so it's like all over everything. So I've been like pulling it out of trees and stuff, and I'll like pull on, and it'll just keep on going, and I'll pull like 20 feet of vine out, and then there's still more. So I've just been like pulling out enough to like fill up the trash bin all the way to the top, and doing a little bit more to make, you know, even better progress, and then just calling it a day. So, do you know what makes a weed? A weed is a plant in the wrong place. There are no weeds. There are just plants that are not appreciated. At least that's what I've always said. Yeah, okay. I say I always said like she's like dead or I don't talk to her or anything. It's just we don't really talk about plants that much, and you know she's busy with other things, and so I'm the one that cares for the plants. But she used to like take like gardening courses and stuff, so she would be like at the local nurseries and stuff learning to garden. So fair. Yeah. Like the biggest things that are weeds in the area are like just the really hardy plants is usually the running theme of weeds. It's like they might even have like nice looking flowers and stuff, but they're just like they're everywhere. So it's like I want this to be a nice bed over here that's nice and clean, and I've set everything out, and all of my plants are in their perfect rows, and everything's working out. And then it's just like, gosh darn it, you blink and there's like 15 of these plants shooting up through like 3 feet of mulch, like solid rock, and it's like, well, I commend your efforts, but also fair. Yeah, invasive plants can be kind of another story. That's one of the worst things is like invasive plants, and it's more like invasive animals really, where people will like release invasive animals thinking they're doing a good thing, but then actually they've just like committed eco-terrorism. Less with plants, but like especially it's just like, you know, like plants get like a vehicle or equipment or something when you travel around, and then you bring back like a single seed of something, and it's just, well, it's over. So always have to be careful of those. Also, as you might be able to tell, it's allergy season again. It is. So I learned, like, honestly way too late that, like, it's like I always knew that seasonal allergies were a thing because I got them. But, like, I never really bothered to, like, track them or anything, and I just thought, oh yeah, it's just the way things are. So I never bothered to, like, look into it. But apparently just the place where I'm at, and sort of like the northeast region of Texas, just around Dallas, is just the worst, one of the worst places for allergies in the world. It just is, at least in the United States. One of the worst in the United States, and I think one of the worst in the world. But it's bad. It's just it has like every major plant for allergies at every season. So it's like if you have any plant allergy, you will basically get seasonal allergies. So it was and then for the lore, for those that don't know, I went to college in upstate New York, and there were significantly less allergies there, so I was thriving. Not having to go through like to give you an idea of how bad my seasonal allergies are, like throughout the entirety of like elementary and middle school, when it's like you have like your one classroom that you're in, for the most part, the teachers would request my parents to bring extra tissue boxes because I would go through so many. And that's just like just at school. It was, and I never like took Benadryl or anything, so it's like, oh no, it's because I had a peanut allergy as well, which I've mostly grown out of, which is something that you can do. I didn't learn that until later as well. It's like I'm still technically very slightly allergic to peanuts, but I'm not even gonna get a reaction unless I like just chug a jar of peanut butter for some reason. But anyway, so I had actual allergies. I was like, oh yeah, Benadryl is for actual allergies, and then seasonal allergies are somehow something different. And then much later, way too later, I was like, oh wait, no, it's the exact same thing. You just use those, and it's fine. Now, of course, I can't just pop a Benadryl in the middle of class and like fall asleep, but granted, I didn't fall asleep in class way too much anyways, so maybe it wouldn't have been all that different. That is a large tree trunk. I do not want to mess with that. Oh, sorry. I am awfully keeping up with the chat, sorry. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I was at I'm glad. I'm just curious. Northeast Texas is not the South. That's the biggest thing, where like Texas has a reputation of being like the most southern South, but it's actually like the least southern, at least again in Northeast Texas. Northeast Texas is like mostly business. I mean, there's Fort Worth, kind of just on the edge of the DFW area, so the edge of the Dallas Metroplex, but it is all like it's not very southern. Like you have a lot of southern like notes, but it's not like the South. And then as far as like weather goes, it's Texas. It is pretty awful most of the time. There's not really spring, there's not really fall. Summers are pretty long and brutal. Winters are nice and mild, at least. You know, there's that. But I think I like my winters a little bit more than I like my summers, so moving to the north is going to be nice. But yeah, no, when I went to college as well, I had it worked out perfectly. I was in Texas for the summers, and I was in New York for the winters. I got the worst of both. Oof. Yeah, and that, like, when you're in the South, it's very clear that Texas is not the South, but, like, all of, like, the media and other countries and basically everywhere that's not the South is, like, Texas is the most, everything, the South is Texas and Texas is the South. That's all there is. It's yeehaw and horses and cowboys and boots and country music, and that is literally all Texas is. And it's not. But that's sort of the prevailing image that a lot of people have. So, yeah, if you're from Alabama, then you know it's like, yeah, no, Texas. Texas is kind of fake South. Again, it depends on where you are in Texas, but... yeah, no, it's... like, Northeast Texas is the kind of place where it's like, oh yeah, we just got over 100 consecutive days where the high was over 100. Fun. That was a few years ago now, but I think the record was 115, 120 days where the high was never below 100. It was, you know, for more than 3 months out of the year. So a very long summer. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's also because, like, geographically, like, Texas is kind of the most southern, but it's just not, like, actually. So it's one of those really counterintuitive things in just people don't make sense. It's like, oh yeah, this thing is called the South, so it's the South, right? It's the most southern thing, right? That's the South? Nope. Nuh-uh. A good guess, but no. It's like Virginia versus West Virginia, where it's like it's more like North Virginia for the most part. It's kind of west. Like, and then of course the classic Iceland, Greenland. I mean, and then there are other things where it's like super particular, where it's like South Africa is a country, Southern Africa is a region. I remember that one when I was in HGAP tripping up a lot of people. Not me though, because I'm from South Africa, so I already knew that. It was like the one flex I had. I was like, I'm not getting confused by this at all. You suckers with your 4.0 GPAs. Can't beat experience, I say, as if I basically didn't completely grow up entirely in the United States. I never actually moved into people's space, to be clear. I'm just memeing now. It's a very spherical tree. I'm gonna leave it. There we we've got a fair few oak logs now. I mean, it's not going to be enough to build the world tree, but it's a start. So, like, we're southern than Alabama, Mississippi, geographically sure. Parts of southern, definitely. Yep. Yeah, Florida is a beast unto itself. Yeah. Yeah, Texas very proud of those 8 years where they were their own country. Like, I mean, it is a flex to have, you know? It's something. But it's also... It was like 8 years, 200 years ago. I think another big thing is, like, Texans really like to upplay their Texan-ness around people who aren't Texan. Like, I mean, there are definitely a lot of people who are, like, 24/7, like, remember the Alamo, and all that kind of stuff. But most of the time, it's not that much. But then you get around people who aren't from Texas, like, oh yeah, we gotta pull a prank on these Yanks. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's always great how, like, every region has that kind of thing that they do, just to pull a prank on other regions. Oh, and of course, like, the American going abroad, like... Of course. Like, one of my favorite all-time jokes is the, it's kind of only tangentially related, I'm just going on, you know, that's why I do tangents, is the classic, like, Australian immigration joke, where it's like a Brit is visiting Australia, and, you know, the guy's customs guy, you know, he goes up to enter the country, and it's like, all right, welcome to the country, reason for visit, pleasure, all right, here, anything to declare in customs, all right, any criminal history, it's like, is that still required? Well, just one of the all-time best jokes. I mean, it's not, but it gives a good chuckle every time. Fair. Yeah, that's the other thing, is, like, cities are not very southern. Like, there are some cities that are more southern, like San Antonio, from what I vaguely recall from having been there years ago, I think. It's like a road trip when I was a lot younger. Like, some of the cities have a lot more southern influence, but others, Austin, are not really southern at all. So yeah, I definitely feel you on that one. Them city slickers just don't know the way the South is. They just don't have the style for it. Let's go ahead and fly back to the sun real quick, though. I'm wondering if I should just make a chest for the wood rather than shulker boxes, because I'm kind of full on shulker boxes right now. I mean, I could make more, but... I've got plenty of wood now.
So I think we'll put all the wood in this one, at least for now. I mean, there's going to be a lot more to come. And then put all the leaves in this one. Might as well do the saplings too. And then next time I go out to collect stuff, I won't have as much stuff in my inventory, so I can collect a lot more. There we go. Yeah, might as well do it again. Probably do one more trip and then maybe call it a stream there. Not a super long stream, but actually it's already been an hour. Jeez, I've been yapping up a storm. Makes sense. It's actually kind of funny as well, like how similar a lot of places are. Like we do like our regional divisions and stuff, and there are a lot of, you know, good reasons to have those of like, oh yeah, there are actually differences. But it's also kind of funny just how similar a lot of them are. Like upstate New York, actually not too different from the South. It depends on where you go, of course, but upstate New York does tend to get a lot of the attention, or a lot of the attention stolen by New York City, of course. But yeah, saw a number of billboards that were like, "Don't make New York City laws for all the rest of New York," because it's a pretty big thing where it's like, you know, everyone in the city, you know, has their own way of doing things, and because it's New York City, it's very different from like anywhere else. And then everyone in upstate New York is like, no, please, we don't want to do that way. But yeah. But even then, there's still a lot of similarities between New Yorkers and upstate New Yorkers. So. People like divisions because they're very, like, divisions can be very useful, but they can also be, well, very divisive. So. Always good to remind of the similarities before we start dividing too much. It's the same food, just a different flavor. Yeah, I can kind of see that. Chest plate on. That's kind of funny. The branches connected on the trees. Also, let me cut this tree apart. Shows I should use shears for that. Yeah. Yeah, it's like, you know, you need your shotgun and, you know, your 12 gauge shotgun, your 20 gauge shotgun, your 4 gauge shotgun. Californian needs their LaCroix, their apple. You know, it actually is. Like, city life is very different. I lived in New York City for, like, was it
because it was several different occasions over a bit of time. But grand total of, I think, like 2 months, but I think the longest was 1 month. Like, enough to, like, get a taste, but not, like, much of, like, actually living there, you know? But it's a very different style of life, and there's a lot of just different ways of going about things, so, yeah. I must say, though, I did really enjoy just being able to walk everywhere, because I cannot do that currently. I live in basically just suburbia and more suburbs. Just everywhere is suburbs. Cut to the tree above. Yeah. Yeah, no, I was just trying to be more trivial and joking than actually getting into the serious topics, because it is late at night and politics, at the best of times, are kind of a no-go. I mean, I'm not, like, super strict about it, but it is very easy to spark intense debate about so many different topics if you were to bring them up, so... Or if I were to bring them up, I mean, again, I really don't. Like, I will, like, police the chat if it needs to be done, but I genuinely, or generally don't really like to do that much. It just, you know. I'll just say that I usually don't bring up politics, but I don't mind if other people do. As long as it's done in a respectful and, you know, not, like, argumentative manner, I guess, would be the way to phrase it. But, like, if people want to have, like, a calm and, like, collected debate that helps everyone to advance their understanding, then I am all for that. Yeah, and that is the really nice thing about the US, is that there are different places where different things can work. Like, there are a lot of arguments that can be made around that policy, but I think that overall it's good. That, you know, certain things, you know, if you like things being allowed or disallowed, then, yeah, find a place where it is. Also, the spherical tree has been encroached upon, unfortunately. Hey, Blind, how's it going? I guess you asked that first, so, not too bad. A little tired. Actually very tired. A bit of allergies kicking in as well, so a little bit raspy. Or not even really raspy, but yeah, not 100%. I mean, not really like sick, but I mean, you know, allergies. It is just allergy season once again, because I live in an awful place for allergies. Yeah, not too bad. Lost a lot of LP and Omega Strikers earlier today and decided that I was just not going to play. I sense that there is a cave down there, perhaps. Yeah, I've been getting awful luck in Omega Strikers. That is a big thing of it. So it's like, I'll just chill, be a little tired and yap, and that'll be the stream for a bit. Let's see, she's more welcome. Yeah. There's a lot of ways to say that, like, the different governments can do X, Y, or Z to improve, but it's very rarely ever that simple. Much as we might like it to be, people are not simple. You're just doing some work, just woke up actually. Give me 2 hours for it, I forgot. Ooh, what kind of homework? Ever been to a rodeo? Yeah, a couple times. This ain't my first rodeo. You know, I went, first time I was pretty young, second time one of my cousins visited the country. And so, did all the classic southern things, you know, went and got her some cowboy boots, went to a rodeo, had some barbecue, of course. And just reading questions. Ah, nice. Good old reading comprehension. That was one of my strong suits. And then I went into a very low, or like, a field that was very far from reading. About as far as you can get, actually. I think maybe the only thing further from reading than mechanical engineering is maybe just the trades. I don't know if there's even a 4-year degree that would be, because like theoretical mathematics is like pure reading. Once you really get down to the end of it, there's just a ton of like proofs and stuff. Yeah, I think most of the engineering should be on the farther side from reading, so. And that's why I'm writing books on the side. Yeah, but they're the southern things, you know? They are in the south. But actually, I didn't know that they weren't, like, originally from the south. I guess it makes sense. It's like cowboy boots are just boots in a specific style, so. But rodeo's not being southern. I guess there's what, like some Spanish heritage with the bulls. Gotta get through 50 pages. Oof. Yeah, I was never great at required reading. I was great at like reading passages and understanding them and all that. I just never got motivated to read like the required stuff like I would. I remember in one semester, right, or one quarter even in high school, I was required to read like
a chapter of a book a week. That was it. And instead of any of those chapters, I ended up reading the entire Ranger's Apprentice series, which at the time I think was 11 books out at that time. So yeah. Was always bad at the assigned reading and such. About 50 pages and I can go back to sleep. It's very Texan. Well, I mean, we have them, but they're not really a thing. That's fair. Honestly, they're not really a thing in Texas either. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. They are, but they're not. Especially in Northeast Texas, again. Northeast Texas isn't very Texas or Southern or really any of it. It's mostly modern. So you do get the occasional people wearing cowboy boots everywhere, but most of the time it's just like regular shoes. But yeah, I will say it is really nice to go to Fort Worth for the more Texas than Texas. It is like distilled of all of Texas into one place. Also, fun fact, and you know the other Texans might shoot me for this one, but Texas technically isn't even the biggest state. The biggest state technically goes to Alaska. But, you know, technically it's like slightly separated from the US, so like it doesn't count. Therefore, Texas is the biggest. Two chapters a week. That'll do it. And that'll also be the way that I did it. Or rather, oh, that is... I don't really want to do a raid. Because I have plenty of totems, so I'm just gonna fly back, honestly. Sort of subculture more than anything. The cowboy people are more so girl city slick. Yep. Definitely the same out here. Yeah. Lot more worked boots than anything else. It's the biggest thing. It's kind of its own culture. Yeah. Blend, thanks for the lurk. Also, lurk, the one tip, and you definitely didn't hear it from me, Cliff Notes is pretty good. It's not, like, perfect, but, like, Cliff Notes pretty good. Now, I would never suggest doing this, or ever do it myself, but theoretically, a person could, in theory, skim by just reading, like, the first sentence of every paragraph, and then just use that to get the overall ideas, and then, you know, yeah. But of course I would never suggest doing that ever. Not me. I did all of my reading in school, and I was very, very good at the reading and stuff. And I did all of it. There's some culture, I guess. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is a nice thing where, yeah. It's like that you can keep going into divisions amidst divisions, because it's like, you know, every person is different, so every group of people will be different, even if it's only slightly. Yeah.
is so beautiful. Thank you. The shulkers give you anxiety? How so? What's the 2-hour nap? Good to read. Fair. It's more for speed reading because there were a few times when I would get to class and, you know, having, you know, stayed up the night before reading something that wasn't the assigned reading, I would be like, oh, right, we had to do that. And then I would have like 5 minutes before it was my turn to talk about stuff. And so I got very good at improv with that. You know, I would cliff notes and skim, and then, I mean, I would never do that. Somebody would cliff notes and skim. Allegedly. and then, yeah, you know, just find one thing to talk about in depth so it seems like you really know your stuff, and then it just works. Just not organized right. There is a semblance of organization to them. It's just the more recent ones that aren't. But yeah, so it's like potions, even named, shinies, the enchanted books and enchanting one, which also has my lapis for enchanting, and the books as well. Rockets. This one is my supplies for specifically when I was building the sort of underwater sections and also the kelp farm. So sort of like the underground of the base. This is the sort of colors shulker box of all the different like dyes and things and highlight pieces that I was using to build the planets and the sun. This one is a junk box, so this is one of the more recent ones that I need to go through. Or do you mean just like the colors of them in general? This is my deep slate box, color code and everything, although it does have those leaves which can be removed and put in there. This is my nether box for when I made the underground area. The sea lantern box, the miscellaneous box, which is kind of like things that are nice to have when you're working on various different projects. There you go. So it's like, you know, minecart rails, sea pickles for like lighting and stuff, hoppers, sponges, you know, whatever you might need that's like not really like all that. Various different leaves and greenery. It's also helping me to like remind me what was in all of these. This is my sort of supplies box, which actually we are running low on food. I mean, we have our emergency supplies, and we always have our emergency rations here. But this was, I think, another junk box from the recent trip to the Deep Dark, where we... Man, that was a lot of shriekers. More stuff for Jupiter. I should really just put all those out and do that. This is the redstone box. Dyed red, of course. And then this is the End City loot box, which also has more supplies for making more shulkers if I decide I need them. And then, of course, my totems of undying, because I had nowhere else to really put them. Actually, is there space in the redstone box? Maybe for the observers? Probably not, but I can maybe just remove the stone. Yeah. Better to have the cobblestone. There we go. It's built pretty intensive storage. Focus and energy chests are more like... Also, I never looped the music. I should have said something. There we go. I was like, something's not right. Yeah. Focus and energy chests are more like things I carry on me at all times. The few spares for projects are mining. Do I leave them all for mission? Fair. I've done a little bit of that as you can see, but yeah. It is kind of a system that works, but it's more just a bunch of systems that, like, I've never overhauled it. I've just built on it as I went. That's the biggest thing. Okay, let's go ahead and actually fill out the food supplies real quick. I suppose sleep while we're at it.
Trucks have random stuff in all of them, and I hate myself for it. Pretty much the same with the last few. I do need to go and, like, empty them out, and I do not have a... you're the first one here. It always gives me a chuckle when someone redeems that, like, super late into the stream. But yeah, no one else was here before. They have all ceased to exist. Let's actually organize that a little better. There we go. Yeah, I don't really have, like, a storage system. I just have storage. So I should really be holding the shears when I take out the fish so I can get all that experience. And into here goes a couple of stacks of you and the bed, and there we go. Food supply secured. And I could use golden carrots and stuff, but I have an infinite supply of cod and an infinite supply of kelp, so it's been a while since I've actually gone and refilled this, so. Oh, this broke. That would be why. This is my silk touch. Yes, yes it is. KY. Okay, why is this broken? I guess the piston got bud powered, because that is a thing that can happen. No, it's a different system, isn't it? I mean, they did change how Minecraft works in the latest update, but I haven't updated to that one yet. Oh, wait, no. Oh, it's working now. Cool. There we go. Yeah, the base tour is Chill's way of saying hello. So, Chill redeems the base tour pretty much every time I stream. The Chill is here. Whether or not I am actually playing Minecraft, which it's 1 point. So, it doesn't matter that much. But yeah, that's the running joke there. Yeah, do automated storage when make big storage in the phrase. That's fair. I do not do that. Also, it appears like this is broken. Come on. Gotta go behind again to figure out why this isn't working. I leave this alone for like a couple of hours and it breaks again. And I don't know if I'm actually gonna fix anything here because I am not in the mood to fix things right now. But we shall see. So let's see. What seems to be the problem here?
Okay, what if I try something else to fix it? Yeah, so this only works if that one is still connected to the piston, but somehow that piston got disconnected. But yeah, whatever. I guess I'll figure out a better way to fix it next time. But for now, all's well that ends well. So I guess maybe the minecart wasn't broken, and the reason why there wasn't much, because I thought that there wasn't much kelp because the cart was broken and it wasn't delivering the kelp. But it could just be that the kelp farm was broken, and that's why, so. That's what I enjoy most, like manually farming and sorting and organizing. Yeah, absolutely. Like, when I say that that's not the way I do things, that was more just like me being super disorganized most of the time. Wasn't trying to throw shade or anything. So, if that's the way that it was taken, then my apologies and not being clearer in that, because yeah, I also very much enjoy like the process of things, which is kind of the reason why I went and like started big projects, because I wanted to enjoy the process and I wanted to have something to do rather than just like finish. So, yeah. Now it's a swarm of kelp because it's too much for the hopper system to handle. But the good news is I can take it out of there and just put it directly into here. Actually, it's full. That's supposed to make sense. I can put it directly into here. Cool. Yeah, the thing with, like, especially when I'm tired, like, I am not the best at properly articulating things, and then also with like you communicating via text, it's not always the clearest, so I figure it's better to beat a dead horse in communication than just assume that things are the worst without saying anything and just, you know. Sorry, I don't think the grids play on the server when people on it did that. You reset time and time. Boring because they didn't have to work for anything after a point. Fair? Appreciated. Yeah, that's one of the other things, like with like multiplayer servers. Yeah, I also can't really get into it a lot of time with resets. Like, I think I mentioned this a while ago, maybe even the last stream, because the last stream was a while ago. But I used to be a moderator for a Tekkit Classic mod pack server, way back in the day. And as part of that, you know, I was required to play a certain number of hours in the server, and I could have just lurked and stuff. That would have met the hours, but I wanted to play the game because I mean that's why I was there. I liked playing it, and so I wanted to help the community and stick around longer as well. You know, it's like being a moderator would give me more reason to stick in the community and stuff. So, anyways, I had a build that I was working on. And then word came out that the server was resetting in like a month. And I could have done the thing where it's like, oh yeah, I'm going to get this done before the server, but it ended just taking the wind out of my sails. But yeah, no, it was, at that point, the biggest Minecraft build I'd ever done. It was something like a... I'm trying to think of the dimensions. It was a very big room, basically. Far underground, something like, was it 50,000 blocks excavated or something like that? Something like that. But yeah, so made a, I did make the room. I did successfully complete the giant underground room. And of course, in Tekken Classic, it's a lot easier because you have all those tools for it, unlike here. Yeah, I had plans for it. I was still debating the plans at the time when I, decided to just stop working on it. Well, it was less that I decided to stop working on it, and more that I just didn't have the motivation to work on it. So at the moment when I lost motivation, I suppose would be a better way to phrase that. But yeah, so I was debating between like whether I'd make it just like a purely decorative hall or make it like a factory. But I did make like a custom lock for it and everything. And like if you go look on my YouTube channel, you can see. I didn't use Facecam, but you can hear a very much younger version of me. And if you really want to, like, die a little bit, then you can go and watch those and be like, man, this is awful. Like, there's, like, no editing and, like, basically zero effort. But, like, it's there. I usually just keep all the things around, because it's like, I mean, I could delete it, but it's like, it doesn't really hurt me. I mean, it does, like, hurt me to have it up, but it doesn't, like, actually hurt me to have it up. Yeah. I'm gonna need to have 30 double chests, or I need prismarine. We have 10 double chests of each ingredient. Yeah. Yeah, that's why, like, having a big project to work for is nice, because, yeah, otherwise it is just like, oh, yeah, we just have everything we need, no point in doing anything. And that's also, like, in Tekken Classic especially, because Tekken Classic had the old equivalent exchange mod, which is now called Project Red. Well, I say now, it's technically a successor, but it's basically the same essence of the mod, and a spiritual successor. And, yeah, pretty much a successor in all but name. But yeah, so it had the equivalent exchange ability, where it's like, ah yes, a diamond is worth a stack of coal, so if I get a stack of coal, I get a diamond. But then it also had the even more broken thing where you get energy collectors, and then those turn light into energy, and energy into matter, and so you just have unlimited of all resources. It was cool. It was a factory building mod pack at the end of the day, so you were, like, the intent was to make factories from that. So it's like, ah yes, now you don't have to worry about the inputs for your factories, which is actually not a bad way of making a factory sim. Like, if the point of it is to make a factory and work out the way for things to be made, then worrying about input is just another step that's kind of irrelevant. Like it's technically relevant, but it's not like the gameplay you're there for. So any amount of securing resources then becomes something that detracts from factory building. Now, whether or not that detraction is actually a detraction, or if you actually enjoy getting the resources, that's up to personal preference. But it was focused and geared towards factory building, and I think it was really designed well for that, especially back in, like, it was like 1.5.2 or something, I think was the mod pack version. So, pretty darn early on. So it was very heavily designed towards factory building, and it was very nice for that. I actually had a lot of fun putting things together, and a lot of things as well. It's like, oh yeah, this doesn't work this way, or this doesn't work that way, and so you'd have a lot of people come on and ask questions, and I enjoy helping people. So being a moderator on that server and having the opportunity to be like, ah yes, I am actually a person to go to, so it's like I don't even have to, like, ask if anybody needs help. They're just like, I need help, you're a moderator, help me. And I'm just like, say no more. And it's like, ah yes, you made the very simple error here in that this wire doesn't work with this thing, which was like 90% of the errors. Because there were multiple different packs that used different things. It's like, oh yes, I need a power cable. Okay, I'll search a power cable. But actually, that's the power cable from the other mod. You need this one, or you need the conversion block for these ones, and all those kinds of things. So, factory building, yeah, fair. It's not for everyone. It is... Like, factory building is such a specific niche. Where it's like... Can be really cool, and I find it to be one of the most satisfying things and a nice logical puzzle. Big fan of Factorio as well for that reason. Like, oh man. Space exploration, never completed it. Probably never will complete it because it's ridiculous. But I might do a playthrough when 1.0 comes out in, like, 20, 30, 50 years. I mean, it's kind of a joke. I don't know when it's going to be, but it's been several years development and is one of those mods that, it has a lot of features and the guy is working on it, so credit to him. He's not just delaying it for no reason and just being like, this is a feature-complete version, but it's still technically a beta because it's like, I want more stuff. It's like, no, it's like there are genuinely some, like it is technically feature-complete, but it's like there could be more things and it doesn't feel like a 1.0, it feels like a beta, as opposed to, like, 7 Days to Die, for instance, which, like, did actually, to their credit, release recently. But it felt feature-complete even when it was in its, like, 0.8 version. It's really going this. I just went on so many tangents very quickly. Oh yeah, so factory and space exploration. Lot of fun with that one. A lot of spaghetti cooked up in there. So, oh man, at some point I should do like a tour of the spaghetti, and then I should send it to like a Factorio YouTuber just to review and be like, haha, this is like the finest spaghetti in all the land. Right, factory's been not functional. Fair. I hesitate to say that any Factorio veteran would ever call any of my factories functional. Although maybe they would grit their teeth and call them, like, barely functional, because it does produce things. It's just, the throughput is, like, effectively worthless, but it does technically make stuff. But yeah, I do enjoy that logical exercise, though, so I enjoy my fair share of factory games. Haven't streamed that many. Done a couple. Actually, there was Project Sacrifice, which I might get back into. I was actually thinking of maybe streaming that today, but I was like, I don't really feel like doing factory stuff right now. So I didn't. But that is another fun one. Project Sacrifice is a Skyblock mod, Sky Factory style mod pack, themed around one of my all-time favorite mods, Blood Magic, which is just a really neat mod. But it also has Create in there and a couple other ones for automation stuff, so yeah, anyways. What else? Well, we're reminiscing about mods. I think it's called is it Psycraft? Hold on, I need to look this up now. Right, I'm getting things with the... Of course, I'm getting Psycraft from, like, Pathfinder and D&D and stuff. And Psycraft is another thing. Psycraft mod? No, it's just Psy, right. Because Psycraft is the, like, organization there. Oh, yeah. I think it is, at least. Yes. So the Psy mod, PSI, of course, is... And I mean, this is going to expose me for being a weeb, but one of my favorite and simultaneously least favorite anime, the Irregular Magic High School. It is a great world with some great world building and a great magic system and so many great things about it, and then it's like the main character and his sister kind of have a thing going. And it's like, if you just didn't have that, it would be like one of the greatest of all time. Just... why? It's like... But anyways, if you ignore that, it's got a great magic system, where it's like magic is programmed, and so many really cool things with that, where it's like, oh yeah, modern magic that's programmed is like super fast because it allows like computers to use it. But it's like you still have a human to like channel stuff, but it's like a lot of the processing is done by a computer. And there's a whole like thing of that as well. There's a lot of depth to that, where you can like like in the world there's like people that program the spells, but then it's like if someone can program the spell better to fit a cast, like a specific person, they can like custom make a spell for someone to like, oh yeah, this is a spell that summons a fireball, but for this person who works in this way, this is better for them to summon it, yada yada yada. So with that being said, the mod Psi allows you to like make spells and like program them, which is really cool because you can do a lot of really cool things with it. So like for instance, you can make one of the first spells that I like designed that wasn't like super basic of like shoot thing in direction or launch vertically upward, was a spell that applied a force in the direction of the cross product between the velocity vector and the position vector relative to the player of a projectile. Which, all that to say, basically says if a projectile is going towards you, it will make it veer away from you in a very short thing, because you can do that in other ways. It's like, yes, you can have like target nearby projectiles and just have them like go upwards or downwards or something like that. But I made it so that it's like just that one operation, so that you don't have to worry about any like conditions or anything like that. You don't have to worry about having a ton of different sensors and all that. And you know, you don't just kick the can down the road, because if you just launch a projectile in the air, it's still in the air and it might come down on you still. It did have the one weakness that if it was coming straight at you, then it would actually like basically the cross product would be 0, because if you cross something with itself, or not 0, 1. Anyways, if it was coming directly at you, then it actually wouldn't help too much. So, like blazing gassed fireballs would still actually usually be diverted, because usually there's a slight variation. But if it was like perfectly in line with you, then it wouldn't. But any curved projectile would work tremendously against. And also if you like moved, then it ensured that like, because like a gas fireball has an AoE to it, if you moved slightly to dodge the projectile, it would make sure that it veers enough away that you don't get exploded. But anyways, really cool mod. You know, while we're on the topic of reminiscing about really cool mods and stuff, that is a mod that I really need to get more practice with. It actually, the reason why I specifically bring up that anime with the mod is because that mod was actually based off of the anime originally. They did later on change it. I'm not sure the reason why they changed it, and if it was DMCA or just the author of the mod wanted to distance themselves from the anime to be more creative or whatever. Like the first edition of the mod had you actually like, he had like created little models in the game of like the weapons that they used in the anime to cast spells and things like that. I say weapons because of course they used guns to cast spells, because if you're gonna make a modern magic, you might as well use guns to cast spells. But then they went more for like for wands and such in the current mod, which, I mean, it's a visual thing. Mod creator has his reasons for it, and the system still runs pretty good. And I like the system more than the Ars Magica system, because the Ars Magica system wasn't very clear on its syntax. It's like, you could go in Ars Magica and you can do a whole lot of really cool things with it. It's another great one that was of the ye old days. But the syntax was not very clear, so you would have to like go to like a million different wiki pages to like get the way that like things are programmed. And it didn't like feel like it didn't feel like you were properly in control. It felt a little bit more removed and mystical, which to its credit, it's a magic mod, so I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. But it required you to really want to deep dive to be able to customize things well. Whereas the mod Psi like really like lends itself right from the get-go to that. So yeah, anyways, I've been yapping for a while, probably too long. It's almost 2 hours into the stream. So yeah, all that to say that having big projects is nice for longevity. You know, not necessarily factories, but just having something to work towards is really important, whether that is in game or even in real life. You know, sometimes it's, you know, you have to be careful with setting goals, right? You know, goals have to be attainable, but it's not bad to have a far-reaching goal that makes you work for it. You know, setting a goal that you know you can't meet so that you have to change as a person and better yourself is a good thing. You know, not all of your goals should be like that, and goals like that should be taken with the grain of salt that they should be longer-term goals that allow for that to happen. But setting a long-term goal that is not something you can currently achieve, that forces you to learn skills or better yourself, is a really good way to improve in-game, out-of-game, etc. So that is why I decided to do this with streaming, because I was like, I want to be more consistent about putting in small bits of work and adding those up and not getting discouraged. And, you know, really sticking with things and committing to things rather than just, you know, being bored after a little while and moving on. So, we're here. And I've, as you can tell, you know, I moved on from there without really completing the base over there. Not perfect. But I did say I was going to finish the sun, and I finished the sun. I dried out the ocean monument. There's still a lot of things to do, but I am at least doing them. I'm improving with that. So, it's been good. It has been good. But that all being said, I think that's going to do it for the stream. Do I want to end there? You know, let's end on top of the sun this time. But yeah, thank you all very much for coming in. Zev, thanks for staying to the end there. And for everyone else that was here lurking as well, thank you very much. For those that came in earlier and aren't here at the end, I can't really thank you in person, but thank you anyways. Is always appreciated. So, that being said, I am getting quite tired. So I'm gonna leave it there. Thank you all very much for coming in. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you have a nice day. And I hope to see you next time. See y'all.